And girls, this is Mrs. Campbell. This week we are going to be learning about probability, determining probability and chance that something could happen. So what is probability? It is a measure that we use to tell how likely an event or outcome is. So one example is today there is a 10% chance of rain. So when do we use probability? We use probability anytime we want to know how likely something is to happen. So some examples are to determine how likely it is one player or team will win the game, to determine how likely it is someone will win the lottery, to determine how likely it is that it will rain or snow, or to determine how likely a baseball player is to hit the baseball. So there's different terminology that we use when we discuss probability. And you've heard these words before. These are words that you have used before in third grade, and I know that we have used them some in our spiral review morning work. So when we discuss how probable an outcome or event is, we use the following vocabulary. The words are certain, which means that it will definitely happen, likely, which means it's probably going to happen, but it's not definite. Unlikely, which means it will probably not happen, but it could. Impossible, which means it's definitely not going to happen. Or equally likely, which means it has the same chance of happening as it does not happening. How do we write probabilities? We usually write probabilities as a fraction. The numerator is the number of ways the event can occur, and the denominator is the number of possible events that could occur. So let's look at some examples together. So let's look at this example. What is the probability the number cube will land on the number 6? If you think about a number cube, it has 6 sides. The numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. If you look at all these numbers, there's only one number 3. So you have one number 3, so that's your numerator, but you have 6 sides altogether. So the probability here is 1/6, and the terminology you would use for this is unlikely. Number cube again, what's the probability the number cube will land on the number 6? Again, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You have one number 6, but you still have 6 chances altogether. So your terminology for this would still be unlikely. Let's look at this example. What's the probability the number cube will land on an odd number? So if you wrote out all of those numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and you circled all of your odd numbers. So you circled 1, 3, and 5. So you have 3 odd numbers, that's your numerator, but you still have 6 numbers altogether. So you have 3 out of 6 chances that it will land on an odd number. So that is equally likely. You have an equal chance of it landing on an odd number. So what is the probability the spinner will land on an even number? Here. All right, so if you look at this spinner, you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you counted all of your even numbers, so 2, 4, 6, and 8, you have 4 even numbers, but you have 8 numbers altogether. So you have a 4 out of 8 chance that it'll land on an even number. That is equally likely. All right, let's look at this one. This one is a little bit harder. It says, what is the probability that I will choose a green marble? In this bag of marbles, there are 6 blue marbles, 3 orange, 7 purple, and 5 green. So if we're determining the probability for the green marble, there are 5 green marbles, so that is your numerator. To get your denominator, you have to add all of your marbles up. So you would do 6 plus 3 plus 7 plus 5. That is 21 marbles altogether, so that's your denominator. You have 5 chances out of 21 that you will get a green one. So your probability is unlikely. Let's look at this one. It says you have a set of cards numbered 1 through 20. They are all mixed up in a hat. So what is the probability that you will draw a card with an odd number? So you know you have 20 cards altogether, so that's automatically your denominator. If you go through and you count all of your odd numbers, you have 10 numbers that are odd. So you have 10 out of 20, which would be equally likely. All right, here you're using the same number cards, 1 through 20. So what is the probability that you will draw a card with a value of 15 or greater? So if you start at your number cards with a 15, so you count 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. You have 6 numbers that are 15 or greater, but you still have 20 cards altogether. So your probability is 6 chances out of 20, which is unlikely. All right, still using the same set of numbered cards, what's the probability that you will draw a card with 2 digits? So looking here, your numbers with 2 digits start at the number 10. So from 10 to 20, if you counted those cards, you would have 11 cards that are 2 digits, still out of 20 cards. So you have 11 out of 20 cards that have 2 digits. So your probability here is likely to happen. Look at another example of a spinner. It says, what is the probability that the spinner will land on Sam? So if you look at this, you have 2 spaces with the name Sam on it. But you have 6 spaces altogether. So you have 2 chances out of 6 that it will land on Sam. So your probability here is unlikely. Right, here we go. What is the probability the spinner will land on Sam, Joe, or Sue? Well, if you look here, you have 2 spaces that have Sam, 3 spaces that have Joe, and 1 space that has Sue. So you have 6 chances out of 6 that it will land on Sam, Joe, or Sue. So your probability here is certain. Okay, here is our last example. And it says, what is the probability that the spinner will land on the name that has the letter T in it? Well, if you examine each name, none of our names have a letter T. So that's 0 chances out of 6, which means your probability is impossible.